First things first, I'm the realest. Drop this and let the whole world feel it. And I'm still in the murder business, I can hold you down. Like I'm giving lessons to physics like crash. I'm a bad bitch like this, man. Drop it low and pick it up just like this. Couple ace, couple deuce, couple Chris, I hear something with the hand ticket on my wrist. I got a lick straight, never chase that. Now first top, like we bringing 88 back. When the hood scene, where the beast at? Champagne spilling, you should taste that. I'm so fancy. You already know I'm in the fast lane. From Delhi to Tokyo, I'm so fancy. Get your taste, let's go. Remember my name. I'm so fancy. You already know I'm in the fast lane. From Delhi to Tokyo, I'm so fancy. Get your taste, let's go. Remember my name. Trash the whole town. Let's get drunk on a minibar. Make the phone call. Feels so good, but it won't work. Gotta keep me on. Trying to get it up. Shit to this thing and we don't get the fuck. Film the sound. Get out the left. I say things until you don't get to that. Still ain't let it. Got the whole world asking how it does that. Got girls out, don't touch that. Look at that, but you wish you could clutch that. It's just the way you like it, huh? It's so good, just wish you could ride it. Gotta turn that gun, it's lame, so don't treat me on the good light. I'm so fancy. You already know I'm in the fast lane. From LA to Tokyo, I'm so fancy. Get your taste, let's go. Remember my name.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to GSA Forever. Video is going to be going up a little late today. It's literally 4:51 as I'm recording this. I just got home from GSA and I ate and I watched the rest of Camp Rock. So, yeah. And Saturday, this Saturday, I'm actually going to prom. So, I'm very excited. I'm going with a couple of my friends since I don't have a date. And thank God my boyfriend does not watch this channel, otherwise he would know that I'm actually going to prom, even though he told me I'm not allowed to. I don't care what he says, I'm going behind his back anyways, but I don't care if he, yells at me forever, I really don't care. Alright, so in the last chapter 11 of my Stepbrother, we found out that Zeke is gay, and he came...
Detergent was like half the price.
Oh, and we'll have to use, double, maybe more.
I'm going back to the store.
Sorry about that. And no one cares. Sorry, okay. Sorry about that. I don't know why that came on. But whatever, I'm trying to think. We found out that Zeke was gay, he already told his mom, and now he accidentally told Trace, and he snapped his hand over his mouth to realize what he just said. So, let's get through this, and my door's not closed. Chapter 12. You're gay, I asked Zeke for the millionth time. For the millionth time, Alex was in his bedroom. Corey was out shopping with his mom, the little faggot. Yes, Trace, I'm gay. Ask me a million times isn't going to change my answer, Zeke said simply. He sighs and leaned against the bedpost, staring at the ceiling. Just don't hate me for it, Trace, he begged silently. What do you want me to do? Lie and say I'm happy about it? I snapped. You're a fucking faggot, Zeke. Zeke sat up and gave me a look, shaking his head. No, I'm Zeke, your best friend, not a faggot, he said quietly. You told Corey before you told me. His venom dropping from my words. You told him first. He looked at me nervously and bit his lip. You're mad. I know you're mad. Hell, I know you're hurt, he said slowly. I'm not hurt, I'm just mad, he snapped angrily. Zeke let out a bare laugh. Trace, please, I've been your best friend since we were 3 years old. If you honestly think I can't tell when you're hurt, then I'm insulted, he said flatly, looking into my eyes. Why didn't you tell Corey before you told me? I demanded, pretending he had just spoken. Of course I was hurt. Why would you tell some kid you just met before you told me? I've been your best friend for 14 years. I didn't tell you first because I was scared. I asked Corey how he could do it, and I just kind of came out to him. I knew he wouldn't judge me. Then I blurted that I liked him. And I was scared to tell you because I didn't want you to stop being friends with me over it. Face it, Trace, you're You're a heterosexual asshole. You know it's true, he said with a shrug. And it doesn't say heterosexual is homophobic, but I think heterosexual is a little bit better. So now you're just gonna pretend I don't exist and spend all your time with my stupid faggot of a stepbrother, huh? I asked sarcastically, regretting the words as I spoke them. Some things were just meant to leave to the comfort of my thoughts. Trace, I'm not going to do that. You know I won't. Trace, I won't abandon you. I never would. You're a complete asshole, but you're still my best friend. I won't leave you I won't leave you, he said quietly. I won't leave like my mother, like my sorry excuse of a mother. The only thing that bitch had ever done with me was birth me. The only thing motherly thing she ever did and would do in her fucking life. Corey was right. I was jealous. I knew it, but I would never admit it. Especially not to someone like Corey. I couldn't help it. My mom had gotten so caught up in her work, she neglected her only child. I was terrified that would happen with Zeke. He would get so caught up in Corey that he would abandon me. I can't go through it again. I had barely managed to get through it with my mom. I don't like Corey. He's hyperactive, immature, and just plain annoying, I growled. Well, I do like him, Trace. Can't you just be happy for me and support me? He begged, his eyes pleading. Sure, let them be happy that my fag of a best friend is dating my fag of a stepbrother. Let me support their disgusting homosexual ways, I said victoriously sarcastic now. Trace, come on, Zeke cried. Don't be complete shit to me about this. Yeah, that's me, the complete worthless shit, I snapped. I didn't say worthless. Trace, you're not worthless. You're just an asshole, Zeke said angrily. Wow, Zeke. Why don't you say that a few more times? I don't think I got the first 50 billion times you said it. I growled and stood up and went to my bedroom door and glanced back at Zeke. He glared at me. You're my best friend, Zeke, but I hate that you're a faggot and I hate Corey. I won't change that. I'm just the asshole like that. I said coldly before storming out of my bedroom. I left my house and drove myself to Juliet's house. I rang her doorbell. Her mom let me in. I went to Juliet's room and let myself in without knocking. Trace, she said in surprise. She explained my face she examined my face as I shut the door, and she frowned deeply, patting on the bed next to her. What's wrong, baby? She asked with a frown as I sat next to her and wrapped my arms around her. Great, I didn't want to fucking talk about it. She knew I didn't like talking about things. I don't want to talk about it, I snapped. She flinched back and nodded and kissed me deeply. Sorry. She mumbled the rest of her head on my chest. Is Corey better than me? I asked. She stared at me, more surprise on her face. I barely even know him, Trace, but I personally don't think anyone is better than you, she said, kissing me again. I didn't feel like telling her that Zeke and Corey were dating. Ugh, it sounded gross. Gross as it actually was. Great, so now my best friend will be sucking my stepbrother. Corey. He was so annoying. I swear that kid had ADHD. He needed to learn how to calm the hell down. My dad had told me that he liked Corey and promised me that I would like him too. Now my dad was angry with me all the time because I didn't like having a faggot for a stepbrother, and because I was upsetting my new stepbrother, blah blah fucking blah. Like I cared. I bet my dad liked Corey more than he liked me. Hell yeah. Wouldn't that be fan-fucking-tastic? My dad loving my stepbrother more than he loved his actual son. I could see it happening. Hell, I bet it was happening. That was it. Corey was taking my dad and my best friend away from me. What can you take next, huh? My girlfriend? I turned to Juliet and pressed my lips on her roughly. She opened her mouth and let my tongue slip inside and explore, rubbing against her. I crawled on top of her and let my hands roam her body freely. I began to slowly bring my hands up under her shirt. She gently pushed me off herself and said with a apologetic smile. She nodded at her bedroom door and sighed. My parents are home. Not now, Trace, she whispered and kissed me again. I sat back in frustration. I needed something to take my mind off Corey, and Juliet was not helping me with that, but I wasn't that much of an asshole that that I forced her to sleep with me. When she had done it before, it had been free will. I stood up and headed for her bedroom door. Trace, I spun to her face, slightly raising her eyebrow. What? I asked fondly. Are you mad? She asked nervously. I shook my head, then hesitated. Not at you, I assure you, the frustrated said. I just need to go for a walk. She bit her lip and stood up, coming over to me and hugging me and pressing her lips to mine. Please call me if you need me, she whispered. I nodded before leaving her bedroom, making my way back home. I spotted Corey outside the front yard, dribbling my soccer ball. Anger went through me as I watched him play with my soccer ball in the front of my house after taking my best friend and my dad from me, little shit. I went over to him and shoved him roughly. He stumbled before catching his balance and trying to face me, surprise on his face. Well, it's nice to see you too, Trace. He started rolling his eyes. I put my foot on the soccer ball and pulled it toward me. This is mine, he hissed, my eyes flashing. The kid was done taking what belonged to me. Corey gritted and snatched the ball away from me, dribbling away with it, as I clenched my fist tightly and took after, chasing him as he dribbled around the yard. I grabbed the back of his shirt and yanked on it, pulling him back, going to get the ball. He stepped on my foot and shouldered me, knocking me to the ground. I stared up at him in shock, and he smiled, proud of his breath. How are you so... I cut myself off before I could say good. I glared at him and stood up, picking up the soccer ball, tucking it under my arm. Wipe the smile off your face, I snapped, and he laughed. He followed me as I went inside, dropping the ball in the garage as I went. Trace, why do you hate me so much? And not just because I'm gay. You hated me before you even knew I was gay, he said, still smiling. You're just annoying as fuck, I snapped and shoved him, trying to get him go to the living room so I could just watch some TV. Corey followed me curiously. But all I had to say was, hi, nice to meet you, and you hated me. I mean, it's not my fault that you're a antisocial asshole, he said, frowning to himself. Zeke's word flashed back into my mind. I spun around and grabbed Corey's arm roughly. I was vaguely aware how comfortable and warm his arm was. I pulled him right up to my face. Just shut up before I hurt you, Corey, I growled. I searched his eyes for any trace of fear and found none. Just nice eyes, really, really stunning eyes. There was a look in them. It wasn't exactly innocent, but it wasn't exactly naive either. I found myself unable to release his arm and look away from his eyes. The warmth of his arm in my hand became more apparent, and wondering if I was still breathing. The front door shut and I snapped out of my trance. I shoved Corey away from me, suddenly a little afraid. What the hell? I was straight! I spun around and dropped on the couch, turning on the TV, trying to act like my normal self as Dad and Corey's mom came to the room. Hi, boys! My dad said brightly. Hey, Brandon! Corey said with a huge smile. Dad ruffled his hair and forced myself to stare at the TV instead of glare at him. Whatever. He could have been my dad. I didn't give a fuck. Still, that warm feeling of his skin on his, and Chance's eyes before he was freaking the hell out of me. I was straight. I had a girlfriend. I slept with that girlfriend. I wasn't a stupid faggot like Zeke or Corey. I had to find a way to make sure this didn't happen. I had to make Corey hate me so he wouldn't come near me. I would have to reassure myself I was straight. If that meant breaking Corey and Zeke up so Zeke would hate me, then fine. I would do that. I would beat Corey up to make him afraid of me, if I had to. I just didn't want to ever feel that way about a boy ever again. This chapter was completely different, but I hate it, so I rewrote it, and I like it more. So, do you guys think Trace is gay? And what is that crazy boy going to do to poor Corey? What do you guys think? I actually have to go, because I have to record video for tomorrow. So I will see you guys tomorrow for Blue Day for Chapter 13. And until next time, gays, okay, just ask the GSA. Huh?